I'm the largest independent oil producer in the region. The only difference between me and Monty is I'm meaner.
Season 2 begins with a simple truth. The company is alive, but the structure holding it together is already cracking. Monty is gone, but his shadow controls everything. The business he left behind looks powerful on paper: multiple LLCs, revenue streams, assets spread across trusts, but underneath, it's hollow. Money doesn't move where it's supposed to. Debt hides behind credit lines, and the moment someone tries to act fast, they discover there is no cash waiting to save them. Cammie steps into leadership at the worst possible time. She doesn't inherit stability, she inherits unfinished wars, insurance money tied to strict timelines, offshore drilling obligations that cannot be delayed, regulators watching closely, banks waiting for a mistake, and competitors who smell blood in the water. What makes Cammie dangerous isn't experience, it's refusal. She refuses to retreat, refuses to declare bankruptcy, refuses to let the company her husband built collapse under her watch. From the start, she makes it clear meetings come to her now. Power doesn't ask permission. Meanwhile, the industry around her shifts. While old royalty owners relax on beaches, rivals quietly underbid leases, corner pipelines, and buy bad debt. This is no longer about drilling wells. It's about owning choke points. Whoever controls infrastructure controls survival. Season 2 makes one thing clear early. This energy boom isn't lifting everyone. It's selecting winners and burying the slow. And underestimating the wrong person is how empires get sold piece by piece. At the same time, we're introduced to the most dangerous theme of the season: blind spots. The places the industry ignores because they look played out, dry, or unprofitable. That's where unexpected success begins. Shallow wells drilled deeper than anyone bothered to try. Old land producing new money, not because of luck, but because arrogance left gaps. Tommy sees it too late. His son doesn't just get lucky. He exposes something the industry chose not to see. And that realization hits harder than failure. Because failure can be explained. Blindness cannot. But success comes with a cost. Financing appears from nowhere. Contracts are signed without lawyers. Deals sound generous, too generous. And in this world, generosity is never free. Someone always recoups first. Someone always owns leverage. Season 2 tightens the tension by showing how fast opportunity turns into obligation. A good well becomes a dangerous question. A signature becomes a trap. And family ties blur the line between protection and control. By the end of the first chapter, Landman Season 2 establishes its core rule. Money doesn't create power. By the time Season 2 settles into its rhythm, one thing becomes painfully clear. Nothing in this company is accidental. Every delay, every missing dollar, every confusing structure was designed by someone who understood how to hide risk until it explodes. Cammie orders a deeper look into the finances, and what surfaces is worse than debt. It's uncertainty. Money should be flowing from the holding company into the operating arms, but it isn't. Instead, every LLC survives on borrowed time, pulled forward by lines of credit from banks that are starting to ask questions no one wants to answer. The company looks rich, but it lives paycheck to paycheck. One missed obligation, and the entire structure collapses inward. This is where Landman Season 2 shifts from business drama into something colder. Because now the question isn't how to grow, it's how to survive without revealing weakness. Insurance money meant for one disaster must be spent quickly, but the rules are strict. Drill another well. Meet deadlines. Environmental reviews. Geological surveys. The problem isn't knowledge, it's speed. And speed costs money the company doesn't have access to. That's when outside players start circling. Financiers appear with deals that make no sense. 50-50 funding. Reduced recoup rates. Terms so generous they feel insulting to logic. Tommy immediately recognizes the truth. No legitimate company takes that risk without expecting something much bigger in return. When money shows up without collateral, the collateral is usually you. The tension tightens when family gets involved. Tommy realizes his son didn't just drill wells. He signed contracts that tie the future of those wells to people no one has vetted. No lawyers, no protection, just instinct and confidence. And while the wells are producing, the real question becomes who truly owns the upside. This is where pride turns into vulnerability. Tommy is furious, not because his son failed, but because he succeeded without him. The industry blind spot his son found proves that experience can become a liability. That realization eats at Tommy more than any financial risk ever could. Meanwhile, Cammy faces a different enemy: history. Monty didn't leave chaos intentionally, but he left behind a system built for control, not transparency. It worked while he was alive because fear held it together. Without him, every hidden compromise becomes exposed. Every moral shortcut starts demanding payment. The season escalates when the truth behind the financing emerges. Connections that stretch beyond oil, beyond energy, into criminal money that doesn't forgive mistakes. Deals once framed as opportunity now look like traps with armed guards at the exit. And yet, Cammy does not back down. Instead of denying reality, she accepts it. Because to her, giving up is worse than dealing with monsters. Bankruptcy is surrender. Compliance is survival. She chooses the devil she can negotiate with rather than the system that will erase her. What makes this section devastating is how calm everyone becomes while stepping deeper into danger. No shouting, no panic, just quiet agreements made under the understanding that walking away is no longer an option. By the end of Section 2, Landman Season 2 delivers its most chilling message so far. Once dirty money touches clean business, there is no clean way out. Only smarter ways forward, and the people who hesitate don't get punished. They get replaced. Season 2 now pivots from the mechanics of business into the battlefield of human relationships. The company's structure is fragile, but people, those who should be the backbone, are even more fragile. Loyalty is no longer a given. It's a currency measured in actions, not words. And in this world, betrayal isn't a mistake. It's strategy. Cammy begins to see the truth that Monty hid in plain sight. Every alliance, every handshake, every nod of agreement carried hidden clauses, invisible debts, and silent threats. People closest to her, the ones she trusted implicitly, start showing cracks. Decisions she thought were her own are influenced by invisible pressures. Creditors, regulators, even family members who believe they know better. Every conversation, every meeting is a calculated dance, and misstep by even a fraction of a second could mean losing not just money, but leverage, reputation, and control. What makes Section 3 gripping is how it layers personal stakes on top of corporate strategy. Deals aren't just numbers. They're leverage over friends, over allies, over your own family. Cammy sees this when her son's instincts clash with her experience. The boy's success threatens the old guard, creating unease in people who can't afford to feel challenged. Tommy, her counterpart in this battle, sees opportunity in her trust, but also danger. Every move she makes is watched, tested, and occasionally exploited. Betrayal comes quietly, often wrapped in flattery or assistance. Employees she once relied on are suddenly negotiating behind her back. Contractors and financiers who promised fairness now demand prepayment, leverage, or partnership clauses that strip control away. Cammy learns that in Landman's world, generosity is a signal to test loyalty, not a sign of kindness. The line between ally and predator blurs, and she must recalibrate constantly. Meanwhile, the financial landscape shifts faster than anyone can react. Wells are drilled, contracts signed, profits accumulate, and yet the real threat isn't competition, it's exposure. Regulatory deadlines, environmental reviews, and insurance stipulations become weapons in the hands of those who would see her fail. Cammy is forced to navigate not only the immediate crises, but also the invisible currents that could destroy everything overnight. Every misstep is cataloged. Every hesitation is a weakness exploited. The tension intensifies when personal stakes merge with business. Family loyalty clashes with financial prudence. Decisions that protect the company sometimes hurt those closest to her. She discovers that surviving in Landman's world requires compartmentalization, detachment from sentiment, reliance on instinct, and a willingness to make morally gray choices. The people who falter here do so not because they lack intelligence, but because they cling too tightly to trust and predictability. Section 3 also explores how Cammy's own reputation becomes a weapon. Her decisiveness, her ruthlessness, and her refusal to yield are both admired and feared. It is this duality that allows her to maneuver through betrayals and to turn potential adversaries into reluctant collaborators. Her son's success becomes a symbol, proof that instinct, not just experience, can command power. And for the first time, people begin to see that the woman leading the company isn't just preserving her husband's legacy, she's defining her own. By the end of Section 3, the audience understands a chilling reality. In Landman's world, loyalty is optional, betrayal is inevitable, and survival requires knowing when to act, when to wait, and when to strike without mercy. No one is untouchable. No relationship is sacred. And the longer you hesitate, the more likely you are to be consumed by forces you cannot see. By Section 4, Landman, Season 2 dives headfirst into the raw mechanics of power. What began as a struggle for survival now transforms into a brutal chess game, where every player knows the rules, but no one plays fair. Cammy is no longer just managing a company. She's orchestrating influence, manipulating perception, and using every advantage at her disposal to stay one step ahead. Here, power is not measured in barrels of oil or revenue statements. It's measured in fear, respect, and leverage. The stakes explode when outside forces, banks, competitors, and shadowy financiers start testing her boundaries. They attempt to bend the system in their favor, exploiting deadlines, threatening legal action, and dangling capital like bait. Cammy, however, proves that she is not merely reactive. She transforms the crisis into opportunity, turning aggressive moves against her into traps for her opponents. By controlling information and timing her responses with precision, she demonstrates a terrifying clarity. The people who believe they are in control are often the most vulnerable. Season 2 highlights the psychological warfare behind every negotiation. Meetings are no longer discussions. They are battles. Tone, pause, and eye contact carry weight equivalent to signed contracts. Cami leverages this, understanding that influence often outweighs capital. She teaches those around her that instinct combined with decisiveness can outweigh traditional authority. Allies become loyal not just because of promises, but because they fear the cost of failure, and enemies hesitate because they cannot predict her next move. Simultaneously, the narrative exposes the cost of power. Cami's personal life suffers as her business decisions require cold detachment. Relationships strain under the weight of secrecy and strategy. Her son, whose instincts sparked initial success, now learns that leadership carries responsibilities beyond individual wins. Mistakes are magnified, and trust is measured in actions rather than words. Season 2 begins by plunging viewers straight into the aftermath of a power shift, leaving old alliances fractured and new players maneuvering for control. At the center of it all is Thomas Landman, the once calculated but increasingly cornered businessman, whose every move is scrutinized not just by competitors but by his own family. The tension is immediate, almost suffocating. Contracts are signed, assets shifted, and threats whispered behind closed doors. In this world, information isn't just currency. It's a weapon, and Landman must navigate a labyrinth of deceit and half-truths to protect what he believes is rightfully his. Early episodes establish the fragility of power. Thomas's relationship with his son, a surprisingly shrewd and ambitious young man, becomes both an asset and a liability. While Thomas has experience and influence, his son possesses instincts that catch even seasoned adversaries off guard. Together, they begin to uncover opportunities that the old guard missed: hidden mineral rights, overlooked drilling prospects, and complex financing deals that promise huge returns if executed correctly. But every opportunity comes with hidden dangers. Loans must be secured, contracts negotiated under immense pressure, and external scrutiny from the IRS, state regulators, and opportunistic rivals looms like a constant shadow over their operations. This season doesn't shy away from showing the human cost of high-stakes business. Thomas wrestles with personal regrets and the weight of his fatherly responsibilities, often clashing with his son over strategy, risk, and ethics. Their exchanges are razor-sharp, each line loaded with tension, veiled threats, and unspoken emotions. The dialogue is a chessboard, every phrase measured, every question calculated, every concession a potential trap. It becomes clear that Landman's world is one in which hesitation is deadly, and decisiveness is the only currency that matters. Meanwhile, rivals and outside players enter the frame with their own hidden agendas. Lawyers, financiers, and former allies circle like predators, each seeking leverage over the Landman empire. One of the recurring themes is the blurred line between friend and foe. Characters who appear to be allies reveal ulterior motives, while adversaries occasionally offer assistance that may serve both parties' interests, but always at a cost. This constant tension creates a palpable suspense that drives every plot line. The audience is kept on edge, never fully knowing who can be trusted and who is preparing the next betrayal. The stakes escalate further when offshore deals and high-risk drilling ventures come into play. Landman and his team must act fast to exploit untapped resources, but every move carries financial and legal peril. Conversations over contracts reveal the intricacies of the business, while simultaneously exposing the moral compromises the characters are forced to make. Deals that seem advantageous are often laced with hidden clauses, non-obvious risks, or ethical dilemmas that test their integrity. This juxtaposition of raw business acumen and personal morality is essential to the tension and drama of the season. Amid the financial maneuvering, the season delves deeply into family dynamics. Thomas's interactions with his son are particularly compelling. Respect and frustration collide, generational perspectives clash, and each decision tests the strength of their bond. The series doesn't shy away from showing that personal relationships are as high stakes as business deals. Every triumph is tinged with anxiety over the next potential collapse, every victory shadowed by the knowledge that loyalty is fleeting. The Landmans are not merely managing a company. They are navigating a battlefield where every move can provoke retaliation, ruin, or revelation. By the end of the first section of the season, viewers are fully immersed in a world where power is fragile, trust is conditional, and strategy is survival. The stage is set for a season of unexpected twists, explosive confrontations, and shocking betrayals. Landman Season 2 is not just a story of business, it's a story of ambition, instinct, and the relentless drive to stay ahead when the consequences of failure are catastrophic. As alliances form and fracture, and as every character's motives are questioned, the audience is drawn deeper into a narrative where suspense isn't just a storytelling device. It's a lived experience, a pulse that beats with every calculated risk and every whispered threat. The tension in Season 2 escalates as Landman confronts the realities of running a business that's not just about profit. It's about control, leverage, and survival. Early victories quickly give way to complications, revealing just how precarious Thomas's empire has become. Every deal carries a hidden risk, every handshake hides a potential trap, and even the most trusted allies can become enemies overnight. The first major conflict arises from the financial structuring of drilling ventures. What seems like straightforward agreements, financing 50-50, recouping costs, splitting revenue, is anything but. Legalese and corporate maneuvers are layered with subtle power plays. Thomas and his team realize that understanding the contracts is only half the battle. Interpreting intent, anticipating opportunistic rivals, and navigating opaque financial channels is where real survival lies. The season also emphasizes the razor-thin line between intuition and recklessness. Thomas's son emerges as a character whose instincts challenge the established norms of the oil business. He identifies blind spots in the market that seasoned operators overlooked, executing bold drilling strategies that yield unexpected results. 6 successful wells, hitting production targets that veteran drillers thought impossible, immediately shift the balance of power. But these wins are a double-edged sword. While they demonstrate ingenuity and skill, they also draw scrutiny from regulators, competitors, and financiers, forcing the Landmans to constantly anticipate both opportunity and threat. The audience is left on edge, aware that even a minor misstep could trigger catastrophic financial or legal consequences. Amid the business intrigue, Season 2 deepens its exploration of moral complexity. Thomas is forced to navigate deals that blur ethical boundaries. Offshore accounts, high-risk investments, and partnerships with shadowy entities introduce tension between legality and necessity. The series captures the psychological toll of these choices, portraying Thomas as a man who must balance ambition with caution, assertiveness with diplomacy. Conversations with attorneys, financiers, and operational leads are fraught with subtle intimidation, measured threats, and the constant calculation of leverage. Every interaction becomes a chess match, each word deliberate, each pause pregnant with potential consequences. Meanwhile, family dynamics remain central to the narrative, adding a layer of emotional intensity to the high-stakes business drama. The father-son relationship is tested repeatedly, with moments of mentorship interspersed with conflict and frustration. The son's bold instincts often clash with Thomas's cautious experience, highlighting generational tension and the challenges of leadership succession. Trust is not freely given. It must be earned through competence, loyalty, and results. This dynamic mirrors the larger corporate battles, underscoring that leadership is as much about managing people as it is about managing assets. Every decision has emotional weight. Every success or failure resonates beyond balance sheets, shaping relationships that are just as strategic as they are personal. External threats intensify the suspense. Rivals, financiers, and government agencies become ever-present pressures. A tangled web of loans, LLC structures, and offshore accounts forces the Landmans to operate with both precision and secrecy. Each financial decision carries exposure, and even trusted advisors may harbor conflicting interests. The narrative thrives on uncertainty, keeping the audience questioning who will exploit a vulnerability first. The stakes are never hypothetical. Each episode establishes real-world consequences. Lawsuits, debt obligations, and regulatory investigations loom over every profitable venture. Season 2 portrays a corporate battlefield where misjudgment could obliterate not just wealth, but reputation and family legacy. Character interplay fuels the drama beyond the boardroom. Thomas's negotiation style combines predatory precision with psychological dominance, a careful blend of intimidation and respect that keeps both allies and adversaries off balance. Every deal is a calculated gamble, whether it's negotiating a surface lease, managing drilling expenses, or confronting a potentially duplicitous partner. He constantly weighs risk against reward. The show also introduces secondary characters whose agendas are murky, their loyalties ambiguous. Lawyers, business partners, and competitors weave in and out of alliances, sometimes assisting, sometimes undermining, always keeping tension high. Dialogue crackles with subtext. What is said is rarely the whole truth, leaving viewers deciphering motives and anticipating betrayals. Season 2 also expands on the operational side of the oil business, grounding the drama in realism without losing suspense. Viewers gain insight into drilling strategies, well performance, and corporate structuring, but these technical details are always intertwined with personal stakes. Successful wells are celebrated, but the financial and legal strings attached amplify anxiety. The audience experiences the thrill of triumph alongside the ever-present fear of collapse. Every victory is tenuous. Every gain carries hidden cost. By interweaving business strategy, family tension, and ethical dilemmas, the season crafts a narrative that is as intellectually engaging as it is emotionally gripping.